Welcome to Reflections on the Masculine Journey with Raith. I'm Raith, and this is where we talk about wisdom, discipline, purpose, honor, and becoming the kind of man life requires. This is Masculine Journey Reflections 10, and today's topic is wisdom turning experience into understanding. The last episode we talked about brotherhood. We said that a man was not meant to build alone forever. He needs men who sharpen him, challenge him, correct him, encourage him, and call him back to the standard when he begins to drift. But brotherhood is not just about having men around you. It is also about having men who help you see clearly. And that brings us to wisdom. Because a man can live a long life and still not become wise. He can have years behind him and still repeat the same mistakes. He can go through pain and never turn that pain into understanding. He can suffer and learn nothing. He can collect experiences and still lack judgment. That is why wisdom matters. Wisdom is what turns experience into instruction. Wisdom is what helps a man see beyond the moment. Wisdom is what allows a man to ask, "What is this teaching me?" Not every older man is wise. Not every educated man is wise. Not every successful man is wise. A wise man is not simply a man who has lived. A wise man is a man who has learned how to live. We live in a time where information is everywhere. A man can watch videos all day, can listen to podcasts all night. He can read books, follow experts, scroll quotes, collect opinions, and still not become wise, because information and wisdom are not the same thing. Information tells you what something is. Wisdom tells you how to live with what you know. Information can be collected. Wisdom must be developed. Information can make a man sound intelligent. Wisdom helps a man make better choices. Information can fill the mind. Wisdom shapes the life. That distinction matters. A man may know a lot and still be foolish. He may understand facts and still fail at relationships. He may know strategy and still lack self-control. He may know what discipline means and still live by impulse. He may know what honor means and still compromise when it benefits him. So the question is not just what do I know? The better question is, what is what I know changed about how I live? That is where wisdom begins. A man becomes wise when knowledge becomes conduct. There is an old assumption that age automatically creates wisdom, but age by itself does not create wisdom. Age creates opportunity. Experience creates material. But reflection turns that material into wisdom. A man can experience hardship and become bitter. Another man can experience hardship and become deeper. A man can experience failure and become defensive. Another man can experience failure and become teachable. A man can experience betrayal and become cruel. Another man can experience betrayal and become more discerning. The experience may be similar. The outcome is different because the reflection is different. That is why two men can go through pain, but only one becomes wise. One man asks, "Why did this happen to me?" The other asks, "What is this trying to teach me?" One man uses pain as an excuse. The other uses pain as instruction. One man repeats the pattern, the other studies the pattern. That is the difference. Wisdom is not automatic. A man has to process life correctly. He has to examine what happened. He has to examine his role. He has to examine the lesson. He has to decide how the experience will shape his next choice. Without reflection, experience can harden a man without teaching him. With reflection, experience can sharpen him. Wisdom requires honesty. A man cannot become wise while lying to himself. He cannot become wise while protecting every excuse. He cannot become wise while blaming everyone else for every outcome. Self-deception blocks wisdom. A man has to be willing to ask, what did I miss? What did I ignore? What did I excuse? What did I tolerate? What did I contribute? What did I fail to see? What did I need to learn? Those are not easy questions, but they are necessary questions. A foolish man defends the mistake. A wise man studies the mistake. A foolish man says, "That is just how I am." A wise man asks, "Is this pattern serving the man I am becoming?" A foolish man protects his ego. A wise man protects his future. That is the difference. Wisdom does not require a man to hate himself. It requires him to tell the truth. The truth may be uncomfortable, but it is useful. And a man who can face useful truth can grow. One of the signs of wisdom is that a man becomes slower to react. Not slow because he is weak, slow because he has learned the cost of impulsive decisions. He has learned that not every insult deserves a response. Not every argument deserves his energy. Not every temptation deserves obedience. Not every opportunity deserves pursuit. Not every emotion tells the truth. Wisdom creates space. It gives a man the ability to pause and ask, what is really happening here? What are the consequences? What does my code require? Is this worth my energy? Will I respect myself after this? What will this choice create? That pause is powerful. A younger or immature man often reacts first and thinks later. A wise man thinks first so he does not have to regret later. That does not mean he never acts quickly. There are times when a man must move. There are times when courage requires action. But even then, wisdom trains the man to act from principle, not panic. Wisdom does not remove emotion. It governs the response. Wisdom is connected to a man's code. A code gives a man principles. Wisdom helps him apply those principles correctly. A man can value truth, but wisdom teaches him how to speak truth without unnecessary cruelty. A man can value courage, but wisdom teaches him the difference between courage and recklessness. A man can value loyalty, but wisdom teaches him not to be loyal to what is destroying him. A man can value discipline, but wisdom teaches him not to become rigid, prideful, or cold. A man can value strength, but wisdom teaches him that strength must be governed by honor. This matters because values without wisdom can become distorted. Truth without wisdom can become brutality. Strength without wisdom can become domination. Loyalty without wisdom can become enabling. Confidence without wisdom can become arrogance. Discipline without wisdom can become control. Wisdom helps a man carry his virtues properly. It helps him apply the right principle in the right way at the right time. That is masculine maturity, not just having values, knowing how to live them. A wise man does not only learn from his own mistakes, he also learns from the mistakes of others. That is one of the reasons brotherhood matters. If a man only learns through personal failure, life becomes a very expensive teacher. But if he listens to wise men, he can avoid unnecessary damage. He can learn from the older man who lost a marriage because he neglected his home. He can learn from the man who damaged his health because he ignored his body. He can learn from the man who chased money and lost meaning. He can learn from the man who let anger lead him and paid the price. He can learn from the man who rebuilt his life and understands what correction really takes. This is why a man needs elders. This is why a man needs mentors. This is why a man needs books. This is why a man needs men who will tell the truth. A foolish man says, I have to find out for myself. A wise man says, if another man paid the price for that lesson, I should at least listen. Wisdom is humble enough to learn before the damage happens. Pain is one of the great teachers of life. But pain does not automatically make a man better. Pain can make a man bitter. Pain can make a man angry. Pain can make a man withdrawn. Pain can make a man distrustful. Pain can make a man cruel. But pain can also become wisdom. It depends on what the man does with it. A wise man does not deny pain. He does not pretend it did not matter. He does not act like wounds are nothing. But he also refuses to let pain become his identity. He asks, what did this teach me? What did this reveal? What must I heal? What must I never repeat? What can I now understand that I could not understand before? Who can I help because I have walked through this? That last question is important. Pain becomes purpose when a man uses what he has learned to strengthen someone else. The wound becomes wisdom. The lesson becomes leadership. The scar becomes instruction. That is not easy, but it is powerful. A man who turns pain into wisdom becomes useful. He becomes deeper. He becomes less easily shaken. He becomes capable of helping others walk through what once nearly broke him. That is part of the masculine journey. Wisdom gives a man discernment. Discernment is the ability to judge well. It helps a man see what is real, what is false, what is useful, what is dangerous, what is honorable, and what is not. Discernment matters because not everything that looks good is good. Not everyone who smiles is trustworthy. Not every opportunity is aligned with your purpose. Not every desire deserves pursuit. Not every relationship deserves access to your life. Not every criticism is true. Not every compliment is meaningful. A man without discernment can be manipulated by appearance. He can be pulled by emotion. He can be seduced by attention. He can be flattered into compromise. He can mistake excitement for purpose. He can mistake attraction for compatibility. He mistakes confidence for character. Wisdom helps him look deeper. It teaches him to ask, what is the pattern? What is the fruit? What is the cost? What is being hidden? What does this produce over time? A wise man does not only look at what something promises, he looks at what it produces. That is discernment. Wisdom is not only for the man himself. Wisdom is meant to be passed on. A man who gains wisdom has a responsibility to share it. Not arrogantly, not as if he knows everything, not as if he never failed, but honestly. Younger men need wisdom, sons need wisdom, grandsons need wisdom, students need wisdom, brothers need wisdom, communities need wisdom. If every man keeps his lessons to himself, the next generation has to repeat the same mistakes. That is why a man should not waste his hard-earned wisdom. He should teach, he should guide, he should write, he should speak, he should mentor, he should model, he should leave something behind that helps another man stand stronger. Legacy is not only money, legacy is also wisdom transferred. It is principles passed forward. It is warnings given with love. It is stories that teach. It is a standard made visible. A wise man does not merely survive life. He interprets life in a way that helps others live better. That is legacy. Before we close, I want to give you a practical exercise. Write this at the top of a page. Wisdom turns experience into understanding. Then answer 5 questions. Question 1. What experience in my life have I not fully learned from yet? Do not rush past this. Question 2. What pattern keeps repeating in my life? Patterns reveal lessons that have not been learned. Question 3. Where have I confused information with wisdom? What do I know but still fail to live? Question 4. What pain can I turn into purpose? What have I walked through that could help someone else? Question 5. Who needs the wisdom I have earned? A son, a friend, a brother, a younger man, your community? Now choose one action, write the lesson, have the conversation, call the man, teach the principle, correct the pattern, apply what you already know. Because wisdom is not proven by what a man understands, it is proven by how he lives. This has been Masculine Journey Reflections 10, Wisdom, Turning Experience into Understanding. I'm Raith, and this is Reflections on the Masculine Journey with Raith. Today we talked about wisdom as the ability to turn life into instruction. Information is not wisdom. Age is not automatically wisdom. Experience is not automatically wisdom. Wisdom comes when a man reflects, learns, corrects, and applies truth to the way he lives. A wise man does not just ask what happened, he asks, what is this teaching me? He does not just collect experiences, he turns them into understanding. He does not just survive pain, he turns pain into purpose. If this message speaks to you, subscribe to the channel, follow the podcast, and share this episode with another man who is trying to become wiser through the life he has lived. Leave a comment with this answer. What lesson has life been trying to teach you? In the next episode, we will continue the journey by discussing identity, becoming the man you claim to be. Until then, remember, experience is what happens to a man. Wisdom is what he builds from it. Reflect, learn, correct, teach, and keep becoming the man life requires. I'll see you next time on Reflections on the Masculine Journey with Raith.